2, 1.
Good evening and welcome to the City of Farmers Branch Planning and Zoning Commission Study Session Meeting. It is presently 6:30 p.m. Monday, September 8th, 2025. We'll begin this evening by thanking the commissioners for their service. And then we'll hear item A1, discuss regular agenda items, which will take us to item C1, consider approval of the August 11th, 2025 Planning and Zoning Commission minutes and take appropriate action. Commissioners? Any errors, omissions? I appreciate the new format from staff. Thank you for those updates. All right. Well, with that, we'll move to item D1. And a reminder to keep me honest, these are two public hearings. We'll conduct a public hearing and consider the request for a specific use permit for outdoor storage on approximately 2.84 acre property located at 2002 Academy Lane and located within PD 77 zoning district and take appropriate action. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Commissioners. Brian Campbell, planner with the Planning Department. If you have any questions you'd like me to address now, I'd be happy to take those on, or we can wait till the public hearing. This is a specific use permit request for on-site storage of vehicles. And the applicant will be here to address any questions regarding business operations and maybe perhaps give some insight into the code enforcement history that I can't.
Thank you for that, Brian. I wonder if you would at least speak to the item. We did all get a copy from a citizen who wrote in specifically about the mail notice. So just affirming our policy on the mail notices and kind of making sure we're all up to date on that.
Of course, absolutely. So our city policy states that 10 days, not 15, but 10 days before the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, we are to mail notices to all affected property owners within 300 feet of the subject property, as well as place a zoning notification sign on the property. And so that was completed on August 28th. Of course, it's hard for us to control when people actually receive the letters, but as long as they're postmarked by that 10-day deadline, then we're meeting policy.
Thank you for that clarification. Commissioner, other questions for staff in regards to this case? Yep, go ahead.
Thank you. Maybe this should be deferred to the next phase, but have they been assessed any fines for their in nonconformance with zoning in the past?
To the best of my knowledge, yes, they have.
Okay, and did they pay them?
That I'm not sure, but I'm happy to check with our code enforcement department and let you know.
Okay, thanks. Do we know if their vehicles use sirens ever?
I was actually out there today to observe the vehicle storage, and I did not notice any sirens on them.
But do they have them installed? Do we know?
I believe maybe on some of them, on the ones that are more like an ambulance, if you will, but they do use like paratransit vans as well, and those don't have sirens.
Right. No, I was just trying to ascertain the risk of 2 a.m. siren departures and the apartment being across the street.
Sure.
But these are not technically considered ambulances, is that correct?
Yes, some of them are, but then a lot of them, like I said, are more paratransit vehicles, if you will, and they don't have sirens.
Okay.
So they're more, think of like the vehicles that like DART uses to transport the handicap.
Right, I understand. And is this a 24-hour operation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Of course.
Go ahead.
Yes, I said, went by and took a picture today, and that whole back row was pretty much all of transit vans. I didn't really see many, so I'd be interested. It would be interesting to know, though, what the percentage is. But from the picture I'm looking at now, they look like they're all pretty much those vans.
They are, from what I observed, I would say maybe 4, maybe 5 of those are actually ambulances with the sirens.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
The thing is that if they're equipped with sirens, are they authorized to use those sirens? Because if they're not considered emergency vehicles, but they're equipped with sirens, if they start using them, then there might be an issue.
Sure. I would bring that point up with the applicant,
Okay.
but that's a good point.
Additional questions for staff? All right, thank you, Brian.
Of course.
Appreciate it. All right, that then takes us to item D2. Conduct a public hearing and consider the request for a zoning amendment for a multifamily development on approximately 5.213 acres located at 11775 Mira-Lago Boulevard within PD 81 zoning district and take appropriate action. Thank you, Brett.
Hello, Chair Rayleigh and Commissioners. Brett Mangum, Lead Planner with the Planning Department. Second case is 25ZA05. This is a rezoning request for multifamily development on the south side of LBJ. The address is 11775 Mira-Lago Boulevard in the Mira-Lago development. So we'll hold the formal presentation until the public hearing at 7. But if anybody has any particular questions on this case, be happy to entertain those now.
Thank you, Brett. Questions for staff?
This isn't really zoning related, but what's going on with the trash out there? I drove through there and there's just tons of small dumpsters in the street. So do you have any insight?
We can look into it. I don't have any knowledge of it just offhand, but I'll make a note to look into that.
Additional questions for staff? Go ahead. Okay. All right.
Maybe just to follow up a little bit on your question, I know for this particular development, the dumpsters will be housed in the parking structure. So they will be contained. They won't be out in the exterior portion.
All right. Thanks for that. And
Thank you.
yeah, with that, that takes us all the way back to A2, discuss agenda items for future Planning and Zoning Commission consideration. Commissioners, items you'd like to put forward? All right. Well, seeing none, then that takes us to adjournment of our study session meeting. It is presently 6:37. We will re-adjourn at 7 o'clock for our regular meeting. Thank you all. Good evening and welcome to the City of Farmers Branch Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. It is presently 7 p.m., Monday, September 8th, 2025. I'd like to begin by thanking the commissioners for their service this evening. And we'll begin this evening with citizen comments. This agenda item provides an opportunity for citizens to address the Planning and Zoning Commission on any matter that is not posted on the agenda. Anyone wishing to address the commission should complete a citizen comments registration form and submit it to the chair prior to the start of the meeting. There is a 3-minute time limit for each citizen to speak, with a reasonable limitation on speakers on any one topic or item, with a maximum of 15 total minutes on the same topic item. Anyone wishing to speak shall be courteous and cordial. The Planning and Zoning Commission is not permitted to take action on any subject raised by a speaker during citizen comments. When called, please approach the podium and state your name and address prior to the beginning of your comment. Please direct all comments to the commission and not to the audience. I believe this evening we have no one who signed up for citizen comments, so we'll proceed to our regular agenda items. Up first, item C1, consider approval of the August 11th, 2025 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes and take appropriate action. Commissioners?
I'd move to approve the minutes as they're presented.
Thank you.
I'll second.
And seconded. Any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor to approve the minutes as presented? All right. Any abstentions? Thank you. All right. That carries. And now we'll proceed to our public hearing. First up, item D1, 24 SU 08, conduct a public hearing and consider the request for a specific use permit for outdoor storage on approximately 2.84 acre property located at 2002 Academy Lane and located within the PD 77 zoning district, and take appropriate action. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Commissioners. Good evening. Brian Campbell here with the Planning Department, here to present to you tonight on case 24 SU 08 for 2002 Academy Lane. So this is the subject property. It is zoned Plan Development District number 77, and this is a specific use permit request for on-site storage of vehicles. So the applicant is Priority Care Transit, which provides emergency medical transport services on a 24/7 basis. And so with their business operations, they are proposing to park 52 EMS vehicles outside. Of these, 36 will be parked behind the building along Academy Lane, and the remaining 16 will be parked to the west along Hutton Drive. In addition to maintaining the existing landscaping on site, the applicant is proposing to also install additional landscaping in the form of 6 additional live oak trees and 3 cypress crepe myrtle trees to screen the vehicles that will be parked here. And as I stated in my staff report, this landscaping is being provided in lieu of a screening wall due to the potential for such a wall to inhibit ingress and egress of the subject property from Hutton Drive. So on this slide is the parking analysis that I included in your staff report, which I'll just briefly summarize here. So between Priority Care Transit and the other tenants of this building, which include Grace Point Media, TM Studio, and Journey of Faith Church, per PD 77, together they're all required to have 70 parking spaces. And so given that Priority Care Transit is proposing to occupy an additional 52 spaces, that leaves 122 parking spaces that could be occupied at any given point in time, with 67 parking spaces remaining for future tenants of the building. So now to get into the code enforcement history of this property, I'll just briefly go over the highlights of what I stated in my staff report. So we do have several uncompleted certificate of occupancy applications that were applied for in 2020, 2022, and 2023. In September of 2023, the applicant was cited by our code enforcement department for operating a business without a certificate of occupancy, not having a specific use permit for the outdoor storage, and having junked and inoperable vehicles in view of the public. In October 2023, the applicant did meet with staff to discuss the SUP process, including how to apply. However, none was filed. The applicant did finally file for the SUP in November of last year. And in January of this year, we received yet another CO application, which is currently on hold pending the final action of this SUP request. So now to get into the recommendations of the Farmers Branch 2045 plan. So the Farmers Branch 2045 plan designates the subject property and the surrounding area as industrial. So with this land use designation, the plan recommends a mix of industrial uses focused on industry, employment, and enterprise. And so with that, the recommended uses are office, research, industrial, manufacturing, and warehousing and distribution. And so while the applicant's use has office as a major component, as well as providing opportunities for employment, in addition to providing an essential service for citizens of Farmers Branch through emergency medical transport, the use is not industrial in nature. So given that, the proposal is not entirely consistent with the Farmers Branch 2045 plan. So on August 28th, we did mail 52 letters, notification letters to all affected property owners within 300 feet of the subject property, as we now require, in addition to sending letters to both the Carrollton Farmers Branch and Dallas Independent School Districts. And a zoning notification sign was placed on the property the same day. As of this evening, we have received one email in opposition to this request, of which you were provided copies of. So this concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to take those. We do have the applicant here with us as well, if you have any questions for them. Otherwise, I thank you for your time this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And before we start with the other questions, if you wouldn't mind just summarizing, especially since we have several residents, our policy, especially in response to this letter on mailing those notifications.
Absolutely, yes. So just to clarify one more time, our public notification requirement for P&Z meetings. So per city policy, 10 days prior to the Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing, we are required to mail notices to all property owners within 300 feet of the subject property, as well as place a zoning sign on the subject site.
Great, thank you.
Absolutely.
And that was the process that was followed, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
And Pat, to address your question from the study session earlier regarding fines, so I just had a conversation with Scott Webster, Deputy Director of Community Services, and he confirmed to me that while the applicant was summoned to court twice, we currently don't have any documentation as to whether or not they were fined, at least not in our system, because those fines would have been handled through the courts and not through our permit tracking system.
Thank you.
Of course.
Commissioners, further questions for staff?
Do you mind just clarifying the wording on the recommendation of not entirely consistent with the plan? You know, where is it consistent and what causes it to be in conflict?
Absolutely. So it's consistent from the aspect that it is from the professional office aspect of the business that includes the administrative office functions and the vehicle dispatch part of it. However, it's inconsistent when it comes to it not being in industrial use. Because with this particular land use designation, it recommends that all of the uses be industrial oriented in nature.
Thank you.
Of course.
Any additional questions for staff? All right, and I believe we do have questions for the applicant. Yep. All right, if the applicant wouldn't mind, just step forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Samuel Bronson. I'm a representative for Priority Care Transit. And what else?
Just the address, and you can use the address for the
address
property.
2002 Academy Lane, Suite 130, as well as Suite 200.
Great, thank you. And commissioners, we have some questions.
Thank you. Obviously, there's some concern about noise from emergency vehicles when there's apartments directly across the street. This is a 24-hour operation, that's correct?
That's correct.
And do any of your vehicles use sirens in their work?
We do have sirens, but they are non-use because it's non-emergency based. So basically, they do not deploy their sirens in
Okay.
that neighborhood.
But your vehicles park and arrive and depart at all hours of the night, is that correct?
And that's correct.
And they do have backup warning systems that are audible outside the vehicle? whenever
Just for backup, yes.
Do you maintain the vehicles on site?
Not on site.
Okay. And I guess the question we're all having is, why did it come to this? I mean, this, in terms of out of compliance for 4 years, I mean, I drive past that place several times a week.
Right.
I live right in the neighborhood there. So never would have occurred to me that it was out of compliance with ordinance, so.
Right, right. Long story short, miscommunication from the owner's standpoint, as well as the owner of the facility or the building. The owner of the business thought that the CO that he had was good for, I guess, the length of the term that he had with the building. So once I found out the information, I kind of took over and started putting plans in place to correct it.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions?
I just, the one citizen comment that we had did mention vehicles being washed. Is that something you regularly do, like
Yeah, we do.
mobile washing?
Yeah, we do wash, and there's an area that's on the west side of the building that we do all the washing in one area,
Okay,
but we do not wash along the back area where the apartment buildings are. It's all located on the west side of the building.
and it's like backup alarms, there's 52 trucks, 52, so I guess they're coming and going. So I would think that would be,
There's
could be,
actually only 15 of those that have the backup, and those would be the ambulance.
oh,
All
so
of the
only,
transit vehicles, they do not.
they
have
do
that.
not have the beep, 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 okay,
Right,
so
right.
15, okay. And so and you don't do mobile maintenance at all?
No,
So-
we have a
so-
company that we lease out. They come and pick up the vehicles, they take them, do the maintenance, and bring them back.
Okay, and is just this number, this 52 vehicles, is that a stable number? Are you growing? Like, what's the
Well,
what's
we
the
have
situation?
grown over the years.
Yeah.
I think we started with about 15 vehicles, and we've escalated that now to where we are now, and to about the 52 vehicles.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So, thank you.
Further questions?
This is stemming from that comment, and this may be good for you, Brian. Does this SUP put a limit on the number of vehicles? So let's say that they continue to grow into a larger fleet. Is there a limit to how many vehicles they can have with this SUP?
Yes, because they're only permitted to park vehicles in the spots that are marked in the site plan that was included with the ordinance. So essentially, that limits them to 52. Yes, sir.
Great, thank you, Brian. A reminder, this is a public hearing, so if any members of the public would like to speak, you're welcome to do so. Please just get a citizen comments form from the back. All right, well, a reminder for our commissioners that this is a public hearing.
I have one more question.
Sure.
You said there was a miscommunication between the property owner and the operating business? Yes. And where you said that their occupancy permit prior extended to this. When did the business start operating in that building?
At that location, if I have my numbers correct, it was 2015, I want to say, but I have to go get you.
2015?
Yeah,
It's
I have to
been there.
get the right number. I don't have the right date.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions, concerns, discussion to bring up?
I'm sorry, I guess I'm confused by the vehicle washing on site. It was my understanding that commercial vehicle washing could not take place except in areas where the water is recycled and doesn't go into storm drains. Is that the way your car wash situation is configured, or does the water drain into the storm system?
I think it's just one drain there, but it's not, we don't wash every week. Sometimes we don't wash, monthly. It's at need base. And, but I do believe on that side of the building, there's a drain.
And it goes into the storm drain
I do
system?
believe so.
Okay.
I've got one question. I don't know. I don't know whether you know this or whether there'd be a question for somebody else. But does your business already generate more in and out traffic from that property than any of the other occupants?
No, all of our business is outside of that location. We service the Dallas-Fort Worth area, as well as the Bonham area, Oklahoma, Louisiana. We're traveling. All of our vans, they leave that location, and they're doing all their traveling outside of that
Okay, well,
location.
I may not have made myself clear enough, but if you have that many vehicles on property at any one time, is your company generating more traffic in and out of that property than any of the other tenants? I guess is the better way to.
Yes. If you're looking at the number of employees that we have versus the number of or residents that are there that have traffic, yes, we have more traffic.
And do any of those other companies have as much in and out during the day as you do, or is yours the one that generates the most traffic in that?
There's one other company that has a large number, the studio, that's right below us. They have a lot of foot traffic coming in and out.
Okay.
Okay. Questions further?
Yeah, I guess I do for Brian. So I know we're talking about an SUP for vehicle storage. Are there, going back to the commercial washing on premises, is that discussed or covered anywhere in the CZO?
So it's actually addressed by this ordinance. So if it were to be approved, they would not be allowed to wash vehicles on site because it would prohibit any activities related to vehicles, including washing, maintenance, repairs, anything of that nature.
And does the applicant was aware of that they will have to stop washing their vehicles? Okay, thank you.
All right, any further questions? Go ahead.
My concern was from the complaint that the person was, the complaint was the backup alarms. Is there anything that we could do to maybe address that complaint as far as, like, I know you said it was only 15 vehicles, but is there a way we could address that some way to?
Yes. What we could do, instead of reversing into a parking spot, we can pull forward, especially with the ambulance. The only reason why we back in is that so we're ready to go if we get a call. So we can go forward into the parking spaces versus reversing.
All right, any further questions? Thank you for that.
Thank you.
No, then I guess I would move that we close the public hearing.
All right,
I'll second.
seconded. Any further discussion on that? All right, seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor to close the public hearing? All right, so with that, we will hear action on the item.
I don't have the right language in front of me, but I would move that we approve the request and or that we recommend approval as presented.
Thank you. Move to recommend approval of the SUP as presented.
I'll go ahead and second.
And seconded. Any further discussion on the item? Okay, with that, we'll hear a vote. All those in favor? And opposed? All right, I believe that carries. So this will then be at City Council on?
Let me check that date. Bear with me just a moment. So it'll be October the 8th, because the first meeting in October is being moved due to National Night Out, so it should be October 8th.
Great, thank you for that, Brian.
Of course, thank you, Commissioners.
All right. And with that, we will move to item D2, 25ZA05, conduct a public hearing and consider request for a zoning amendment for multifamily development on approximately 5.213 acres located at 11775 Mira-Lago Boulevard within PD 81 zoning district and take appropriate action. Thank you, Brett.
All right, thank you, Chair Raley and members of the P&Z. My name is Brett Mangum. I'm the lead planner here with the City Farmers Branch Planning Department, here to present to you tonight case 25ZA05. The address is 1175 Mira-Lago Boulevard. This is a rezoning request for a new multifamily development known as Dominion Phase 2. The subject site is just over 5 acres. It is located south of I-635 LBJ Freeway in the Mira-Lago Plan Development, which is part of PD 81. The site, which you see there on your screen as in green, is currently undeveloped. It is adjacent to Phase 1 of the Dominion multifamily development. You can see from the aerial that the way this site is located along the LBJ corridor, there is no frontage road in this area. So the access to the site is fairly limited, meaning that all incoming traffic does have to exit at Luna Road and backtrack to the site from the west. So that does limit the utility of the property for any kind of commercial or non-residential purpose, just due to the limited access. The south and west, you see a heavily wooded area. That is a green belt that follows the Elm Fork of the Trinity River as it passes through the area. This is largely floodplain and is unlikely to develop in the future, just due to the low elevation of that. Moving on to the proposal. There are 265 units proposed in Phase 2. This would be a single 4-story building with an attached 5-level parking garage. The parking garage would accommodate 440 parking spaces. And in addition, there are 14 surface spaces that are parallel parking along the driveways that are adjacent to the site. 28 of the 265 units will be studio, 143 will be 1-bedroom, and 94 will be 2-bedroom units. There are some specific conditions that are in the current entitlement for the land, and we'll go over those more in detail, but this request would be to remove some of those conditions. Again, there's 4 in total, and we'll go over the 4 here in a second. The developer will be building an off-site park, a pocket park, as part of the amenity package for this. The pocket park would need to be constructed prior to the issuance of a certificate of appropriateness if this rezoning request is approved. And this is just a view of the site. This is about 1 block to the south of the subject property. It's within the Mira-Lago development. I don't know that we have a map of the entire area, but it's within walking distance. It's probably a 5-minute walk from the subject parcel. The current request does include an increase in the amount of units. Currently, they're entitled for 224 units on this site. The request would be to add a net 41 to that, leading to a total of 265 units. And there are 2 conditions that are proposed to be removed from the previous approval back in 2014. The first condition was that a hotel be constructed as part of Phase 2, just to the east of the site. And second, that the developer build a perimeter trail around the interior block of Mira-Lago to connect to the pocket park. There's a third condition which would be to provide a second connection between the Mira-Lago development and the I-635 frontage road. They are requesting to remove that condition as well. I do want to point out that condition has already been met with the completion of Sandia Trail. So the second access point is already there, so that condition is now redundant, so striking that just for redundancy only. The proposed land use does appear to be compatible with the surroundings, and I do want to point out there are no single-family developments in the vicinity of this particular site. Looking ahead at our comprehensive plan, this is the Farmers Branch Comprehensive Plan. It does indicate the area which is circled there on your map in the western quadrant of this city. The orange color indicates future mixed use. So with this designation, you can have things such as medium to high density residential, which is what's being proposed here. Other acceptable uses would be things like office, commercial, civic, parks, and open space. All in all, our analysis of the proposal, staff did find that the proposed land use and the site modifications would be consistent with the future land use designation of mixed use found in the comprehensive plan. We sent out our state mandated notices on August 25th. We sent out 5 letters, 3 to property owners within 300 feet and 2 to the 2 school districts. Zoning signs were also placed on the site on that same day. And as of this evening, we have not received any written correspondence in regards to this particular request. So that'll conclude my presentation. We do have the applicant here. Maxwell Fisher is the representative for this case with ZoneDev. And I'll be happy to go back to any slides. I believe that the applicant does have a presentation of their own, so we can swap back and forth as needed if anybody has any questions. And the council date for this one is also going to be October 8th.
Great. Thank you for anticipating our questions. I appreciate that. Commissioners, any questions for staff? Go ahead.
First question for me is how much change in construction and everything along the service road is going to have to be done? And is it going to be a case where they have to shut LBJ or the service road down at some point to get some of this done? Because being in a floodplain, you're going to end up with a lot of unexpected problems with regard to elevation and things like that, and probably run into some delays if they don't engineer it right.
Certainly, that's an excellent question. It's a concern of staff as well. What you're looking at here, this is just the site plan showing the property boundaries. So from what's shown on here, all of the work will be on private property. It won't cross over into the TxDOT right-of-way for LBJ Freeway, which is pretty wide at that point. I think it's nearly 1,000 feet. So as far as I know, there won't be any interruptions due to construction for the roadway.
Yeah, because it's already pretty jammed in there on the service road, so.
Go ahead, Pat.
The driveway that goes around that unit, it looks like it connects to the 2 kind of dead-end spurs that exist in Dominion 1. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And is that drive considered a public street, or is that going to be a private driveway?
It would be considered a private driveway, not a public street.
Okay.
If you look very close where the cursor is, it shows a gate there. So this will be gated, and it will have a Knox box for fire access. So it will be limited
Yeah,
access.
I
just
saw that and
for-
I raised the question. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Just for fire. And then the other gate is down here, like you said, where this current driveway stub terminates.
And the, can you go to the Pocket Park picture, please? If there's a scale on there, I don't see it. What's the diameter of that third of a circle? I mean, how far is it across it? I see dimensions on the side of the sidewalk, but I don't know how big that is.
Well, I can get that for you. I don't have it on here, but there is a legend on the side. We just cut it off to get it.
To
I'll make a
size
note of
to
that.
fit. Okay, thanks. And this is supposed to be a family apartment, right? I
I
mean,
believe that's the demographic that they're targeting,
the-
family, well, primarily young professionals, maybe some families. The unit mix is majority one bedroom, so
I was just curious if they had any plans for any children recreation, like a playground anywhere, because there's no park anywhere nearby, or there's no nothing.
yeah, the applicant's probably the best resource for that, so I'll defer to them to explain the amenity package that's going to be proposed as part of this.
And I will just chime in that the packet indicates that that park is proposed at half an acre in overall size,
Thank
if
you.
that helps you.
It does. I missed that. Thank you.
Additional questions for staff? All right, I believe we have some questions for the applicant. If you wouldn't mind, just step to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Either one, okay. Thank you. Chair, Commissioners, my name is Maxwell Fisher with Zone Dev 2502 Grandview Drive, Richardson, Texas 75080, representing Pillar Commercial Asset, Pillar Income Asset, sorry. Pillar Income Asset's been around for over 40 years. They specialize in the acquisition of development and management of multifamily and single family throughout the southern United States. They have 65 properties, over 8,700 units, including Dominion and Mar-a-Lago to the east of this development. As Brett mentioned, we think this site is suited perfect for multifamily and not much for anything else. It's a mixed-use development of higher densities. There's some multifamily already here. The zoning today allows for 224 additional units. We are asking for an additional 41 for a total of 265 units, and it's an 18% increase from what's allowed. Because of economy of scale, the cost of construction, the structured parking, the amenities we provide, the park, we need to be able to make this economically viable, and that would help us with that. It's a four-story product. It's elevator served. There's 5 levels of parking garage. It's 1 and 2 bedrooms, so it's not really considered in the multifamily industry. It's not considered a family development where you have a lot of 3-bedroom. We don't have any 3-bedroom. It's going to be more of a young professional one. Typically maybe some empty nesters, but a lot of younger folks here. We'll have a welcome park at the entrance there. We'll have 4 pocket parks for our private open space on the back of the development, which is why we put our parking structure where we did. So that way we could have some nice space for our residents to the rear of the development and kind of block some of that noise from the highway. We'll have fitness and business center on the inside and an interior courtyard, as you see with this type of residential development. We are proposing the pocket park, and that will serve all the residents in this Mar-a-Lago development. We'll have 2 benches, a picnic table, trash receptacle, dog bag dispenser, and a 10-foot sidewalk for that in that area. And what's nice is it's somewhat centrally located. It's on the southern end, but a lot of the multifamily, the way it's structured, is that you can quickly get to that area. Here's our elevations. We're trying to carry forward some of the architectural theme that's already there, stone and stucco. We have vertical and horizontal articulation. One thing to note is that the parking structure is architecturally integrated where it won't read like a parking structure. Here's a 3D rendering of how it will look from the highway. There's some other things in the PD that we're carrying forward, such as some lighting, special lighting, and some landscaping and other features that you may not see in some of your other developments. We think the plan aligns with the comprehensive plan and meets the multifamily vision of urban design, structured parking, and pedestrian-oriented streetscape, and then both private and public open space. And also, we think it qualifies as a strategic location for multifamily, given the multifamily that's there. There's no single family around us. So to summarize, the PD allows multifamily. We're asking for a slight increase in density to make the project viable and to support the quality of the development. Minimal increase in the number of units. As staff mentioned, it's sort of at a dead end. It doesn't have direct access to the highway, which I think is important. So we would deliver another high-quality product for this housing product here and provide the park, as I mentioned, and it aligns with the comp plan and the multifamily policy, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Questions for our applicant?
Yeah, so in the Citizens on Patrol program, in the past, we've been encouraged to patrol in the Mira-Lago area there, mostly the parking garages, a lot of thefts, a lot of catalytic converter kind of things. And I know there are things that you can do with a parking garage design that lessens that impact. Are you aware of the issues that have been associated with that area in the parking garages? And have you done anything with the design here that might, mediate those?
Yeah, and there's always crime prevention techniques that we can put in place, and we always, charge our architect to make sure we're considering those things. If there's particular issues, that we can address with any existing
I guess
development.
I would encourage you to maybe even talk to the police department and talk to the other buildings there, because it's been an ongoing problem.
Okay. Yeah, and just the developer here does own the apartment next door, but it has sold off the other multifamily assets. Just so everyone's familiar with responsibility, but we will definitely be happy to address that. And there's a question about trash that came up as well. And we're happy to pass along anything and try to help police that, because we want to make sure, we're protecting our asset and providing a nice place of residence for our residents.
Thank you. Additional questions for our applicant?
Yeah, do I understand correctly that part of this request is to not move forward with the construction of the walking trail in the central plot?
No, well, so there's a trail that's already been built around the development, and there's also sidewalks that also provide a connection to the central area. And then, so what we're doing is that we will be building the 10-foot sidewalk adjacent to the park that we're developing. And then in the future, whoever does build in that central portion, when they know the design and how they want to lay out the building, that 10-foot sidewalk, or at least some width of sidewalk, will be carried forward with that development. But today, the residents enjoy a nice trail system that's out there. And then we're building it where sidewalk, where it makes sense, where the development's occurring.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? All right, a reminder, this is a public hearing, so any member of the public is welcome to issue a citizen comments form, and we will gladly hear you. All right, seeing none, a reminder to the commissioners that this is a public hearing.
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Thank you.
A second.
All right, all those any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor to close the public hearing? All right, and with that, we will hear action on the item.
I move to approve 25ZA05 zoning amendment as written.
Thank you.
There it is. I'll second.
All right, so we have a move to recommend approval of the new ordinance 3963 as presented. With that, any further discussion on the item? All right, seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor to recommend approval? All right, that carries, and as you said, it will go to City Council on the 8th of October. All right, and with that,
Thank
that
you.
ends our session today. We conclude at 7:39 p.m. Thank you all.